And then safe plastics. We all, you hardly can buy a product that isn't packaged in plastics now, but some plastics are safer than others. And we can avoid plastic water bottles by, having a water filtration system, which we don't even need in Minneapolis because we have really good quality water. So we should use a reusable water bottle. I have a stainless steel one. And by the way, Nalgene doesn't make polycarbonate bottles anymore because consumers are saying we don't want hormone-disrupting chemicals in our water bottles and our baby bottles. So those are some of the things we work on. The last thing I want to mention is it's really important to encourage business leadership. So if we buy from Seventh Generation, which is a socially responsible, environmentally responsible company, then we're supporting a company that has that ethic that's protecting the environment. And we've pulled together a group called the Minnesota Green Chemistry Forum, and it's a bunch of businesses like Aveda. We've got General Mills in there because they're committed to sustainable packaging. We've got Sigetis, which is a green chemistry company, NatureWorks, which makes plastics out of corn, PLA plastics, and a number of other businesses. And we're trying to promote green chemistry in the state of Minnesota. And green chemistry is basically making safer products, using innovation, creating safer processes, making products without toxic chemicals, which it can be done. And we're trying to encourage that in Minnesota, and we're going to have a conference on January 7th on green chemistry. So I think I'll stop there and have some discussion.
Almost seems like it's sad that we have such a wealth of information in such a short period of time, although I'm really grateful for all three of you being here. I neglected to have us go around the room to do introductions, but maybe if you have a question, if you would just say your name and your organization that you're affiliated with, and so we can get a sense of what the conversation, inside the conversation is. Yes.
It isn't really a question, but I've been with Shopper for 30 years, and we have biodegradable laundry and cleaners, and they've had that since 1960. So they have used plastics for that many years. And now just in recent years, has the government decided to raise the electric. And my sister lives up at Coon Lake, and when they moved there 37 years ago, the kids were able to swim around the town, and now there are so many weeds from the products that have had these plastics. And they feed those algae in the lakes feed on that, and that we can't swim in the lake. And so that's an example. The other thing, we talked about chemicals in children's vitamins. Both my daughters have been marketing these products, and I think that education is very important to help them know, they realize what's happening in the world. But my one daughter found a report on a computer by the FDA that out of 324 vitamins, including those that were for children and prenatal vitamins, they had lead in them. Now, it isn't, they say, well, it's just a little bit. Okay, but you use that 365 days of the year, it builds up. And so those are just a couple of examples that I think the public needs to, like you were doing. I'm so thankful like you do, because you're just exactly what you're about.
Yep.
My name is Chris Gaines. I work with the Bottle Neighborhood Association. I live up by the Hollywood Theater. I've got a bit of a question about the electronics aspect of things. We've done a lot of work in the neighborhood and getting people to realize that the idea to get rid of your old stereo, just in garbage, they put it out. But then we also run into the problem of that whole sub-market of scrappers, that people will put it out and it's gone before you get there to pick it up, and it shows up along the railroad tracks all spread out all over the place. So that's kind of an ongoing challenge. Would it be possible for a neighborhood organization or a church group or something to do sort of a community electronics scrap day? Get rid of your electronics scrap, have everybody in the neighborhood throw it on a trailer, haul it out to the Brooklyn Park site without having to specifically know who's got what vouchers, and is there some way to get rid of things?
I'd work with you. I think instead of taking it to Brooklyn Park, maybe take it to 2710, depending on how much you think you're going to get. That would be more convenient. I know that for a lot of neighborhood organizations, the trailers that you may use around town probably aren't going to do really well on 694. And that's really a way to get there. Yeah, I'd be willing to work with you on that. It'd be fun to do a pilot program on that. Now, one of my issues is that if you're going to advertise it, it needs to be very, very specifically advertised. I don't know if any of you remember when the first electronics take-back program happened down near the Mall of America. Not only did it stop traffic for 4 miles in every direction around the Mall of America, but there were electronics coming from North and South Dakota, from Iowa, from western Minnesota, because this was the only opportunity. Businesses were bringing in semis of computer equipment. So if we do this, it's really important that it be very specifically targeted, and I'd like to work with you on that, so that we are not inundated with a huge amount of business material, because we're not going to be able to take that.
Tom, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did actually. Just if anybody comment, are there any pilot programs or programs that deal with I guess it's waste medications?
That's a bear. That is a real bear. One of the things we were just talking in Minneapolis, what is our push for the next legislative session? There are a couple of pilot programs. One's in Chisago County. Medications are a sticking point because they're regulated by the feds, and only sheriff's departments, only law enforcement officers can handle prescription medications. And so in Chisago County, the Chisago County Sheriff has a take-back program that he has started. We haven't really been able to get a whole lot of interest out of the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. I'm trying with the Minneapolis Police Department. I know that some of the Hennepin County folks would like to look at this. Meds should be incinerated. All right? They should not. Please do not ever flush meds down the toilet. All right? They are not well taken out of the water at a sewage treatment plant. Sewage treatment plants do really, really well on organic material and converting organic materials. They do lousy on meds and chemicals like that. So those should be incinerated. Put your old meds in your garbage. We would like to have a recycling program or a recovery program for that. Working through the laws has been a real bear.
I just learned yesterday. We have a household hazardous waste unit, and they consider the meds part of that household hazardous waste stream. And I just learned that in 2 weeks, you're going to hear a whole lot in the media about this. The county sheriff and the local district attorney are all, something has happened. I know there's been lots of discussions going on for a long time.
It's embarrassing in Chisago.
And now they're very interested, and there's going to be at least one, maybe more than one pilot collection, just like what we've done in the past with electronics and household hazardous waste for Hennepin residents. But because it is a controlled substance, there's all this involvement that has to happen in terms of how the material is collected and then how it's transferred to the ultimate disposal point. So if you give me your contact info, I could forward you the details about it. But I think it's going to be the first of many collection events, because this is becoming a huge issue, because there really is only one good way to handle this material, and because they are controlled substances, it's been really difficult to figure out how to do this without making it a bigger problem than it already is.
And right now, you cannot take your meds to the Brooklyn Park or Bloomington household hazardous waste facilities. All right? Even though that's the part of the county that regulates it, you cannot take your meds to the household hazardous waste facilities.
And Representative Gardner had a bill last session to regulate pharmaceutical waste, and I think a tiny piece of it got passed. But one of the things is nursing homes flush their meds, and they have a lot of meds, and that's a big source that needs to be addressed.
Well, for years, that was the directive given to people, was the best way is to flush them, but because of a lot of the issues you were talking about, and getting some of these chemicals into into our waters, there was a lot of problems due to the hormone. A lot of these are hormonal supplements, and there's hormone mimicking chemicals, and then they get into our waters and into our food system and so forth. So it's been a really difficult problem. But I know that there are going to be some pilot collection events coming up.
Is there like I've never heard someone say they should be burned as clearly as you have. I think it's the one thing, because we always thought, well, they should be flushed or they should be this. I mean, is there like a comprehensive educational piece that anyone's doing to just teach us of these 4 or 5 things that are the biggest problem? And you can't, if your community isn't burning garbage, then you should do this. And I mean, it just seems like, I don't know, like if there was just a easy.
The DCA has a fact sheet, but you have to look for it on their website, and they basically say you should adulterate it somehow, like put it in a Ziploc bag and you put some kitty litter in it or something, make it unpalatable in case somebody goes through your garbage and then throw it in the trash.
I think, like many other subjects, it's the area is
I used to
constantly
change my
evolving
own in
about
college,
what we know about the byproducts
saved
after
disposal waste
disposal,
oil
and
by
what should be the right
random
way.
kitty
There's a
litter and
huge
putting it in
discussion right now
trash
going on
and-
about waste to energy. Some people think that the burner downtown is, Satan incarnate, and some people think it's a great option to landfilling. And there's lots of other waste to energy technologies that are coming on board. There's this whole area of, Google conversion technologies. And there's all these different ways to get energy out of waste without creating byproducts, nasty byproducts. I mean, there's anaerobic digestion, there's pyrolytic conversion. There's ways to basically burn the waste without creating typical burning byproducts, where you don't actually, you turn it into a gas without creating a flame. So there's all these different ways of doing it, and people are starting to look at that. Well, maybe waste to energy could be done in a way that isn't harmful, but that whole area is evolving, and knowledge about what happens with these pharmaceuticals once they're destroyed and how those chemicals move through the environment and back into our bodies and into our food system is evolving. So I would say if you had that piece right now, it'd probably look way different 2 years from now.
There's a saying that all politics is local. Quite frankly, all garbage is local. What John was saying earlier, that what might work in Minneapolis probably is not going to work out in Western Hennepin County. And some of the things that work in the suburbs, people would never dump garbage on in their neighbor's garbage cart in Edina. They just don't do that sort of thing. But it happens every day.
They can put their carts out of the curb.
No, Josh, they don't. It happens all the time in Minneapolis, and it's a huge problem. Looking at the pilot that we're doing on dual stream recycling, I've got a community that I talk to all the time, and they went to single stream recycling. It became another garbage cart. So they basically have 2 garbage carts. They're looking at between 40 and 60% contamination in their single stream program, and they're considering just forgetting it. Telling people that that's their recycling bin, but just garbage and everything, because it costs too much to separate the garbage out of the recycling. And it's as John said, unfortunately we have to deal with humans. Okay, my horses and my dog are relatively well behaved. I can't use the same techniques on my human customers that I use on my critters. It just doesn't work. So.
Do you have speakers that belong to communities? The reason I ask is I've been talking to the school 2 different times, and there is no positive response. And so I was thinking, we have the bank, the TCF Bank has a room that can be is free. And then we can do it from the community. So I thought it would be great if some of you or a representative could come out and speak, and I would advertise it, and it would be there, and that everybody could be there.
I have said for years that if you will put 2 people together that want to talk trash, I will be there. All right? I will be there.
Is there a representative for, no, we're Hennepin County, so St. Anthony.
Same here.